Okay, people, so what is it? June 11th or something like that? 2019. It is, I don't know, going on 2 o'clock in the afternoon here. Obviously, I haven't been outside very much, you can see. These are the walnut trees. English walnut trees. Oak trees that are growing that have no homes. Look at this one. Look how big it is. It goes from all the way down there, goes all the way up. It likes it there. Right? Some of them are dying, I don't know. I planted a whole bunch in the front, and either the raccoons or the squirrels or the humans are digging them up. Those ones were just dug up. Those are the ones that sprouted over there that got knocked over anyway. I stuck them in the pot, and then I came out and they're all dug up and gone. The majority in there have survived, but there's one or two that are dying. A lot more popping up in there. I'll take you in there in a minute. Hold on. So we'll just go through a little yard check here, right? I'm kind of tired today, people. My body gets sore. Obviously, these guys need water. You can see it's wilted. I didn't water them. So anyway, I planted these things. You can see, right? There's that famous blackberry bush. That itself is becoming extinct. Oops, sorry. That itself is becoming extinct as everything's being ripped apart around here. So, I like blackberry juice, people. I really do. And blackberry jam is nice. Yeah, so I'm counting my blessings. Because this thing is quite populated, and very much so on the other side. Because I've pretty much just let it grow wild. Which it does. Here's my raspberry bush. I don't know how many years it's been here for. But not as robust as it has in the past. But that's okay. We'll get some raspberries out of it. I haven't really had any time to get in there and do anything with it. As you can see. Right? That didn't take long to fill up. And I'm emptying out this one here. See, I want to clear out a lot of this stuff this year, people. But you have to remember, I'm housebound now. I have a baby. Right? A disabled one at that. So this is half empty. So, I don't know. Tisha's, that's all my planter pots in there. Tisha's, I should really work on getting that full of water. Tisha said that I can pretty much, for the most part, work out here this week. She's going to take Amari for me for the weekend. Right? He still sees his grandmother, though. The other grandmother. Anyway, you can see there's 2 there. 1 there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, sorry. There's 6 growing in this pot. They all just popped up. So everything that I planted in there is growing. And this one is an English walnut. I think the very big ones. The problem is, now that it comes time to take them out of the pot, if you separate the stalk from the nut, the tree will die. So I'm debating whether I should just let these things grow in this for a couple of years and get root bound and separate them when they're more mature, or if I should separate them and quite possibly lose 2 or 3 of them in that transplanting process. And then here's a nice one. This is probably a nice the big walnuts, because I planted some of those in here versus the small English walnut. These ones were bigger. And this is what it looks like to me. Here, though, as I was weeding, and something happened, and I disturbed it, and it died. But it looks like it's coming back. So if I just leave it, hopefully it will survive. And only 2 in this pot so far. Everything's dry. It's very warm in here. And then here's my little bonsai. Because they're like bonsais. They're not really growing that much, but they're growing. My little bonsai, what do you call those things? White oaks. And there's another little white oak. Nothing seems to be growing in there. There's another little white oak. That is a white oak that will never have a home. Here is the little English walnut. This is English. Probably the smaller ones in a nice little pot all by itself. So it's quite happy to be there. And then another little, what is it called? White oak. Here we've got English walnuts popping up in here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think those are English. They look like English. Something that needs to go in the ground. I don't know what that is, but it's something. Whatever that was died. Mind you, some of these seeds I was doing was pretty old. I couldn't distinguish what was seeds and what was whatever it's called. Okay, so anyway, here's another one. Another one. Another one. One popped up there. 1, 2 popped up in there. Nothing popped up in there. I'm wondering if I'm being rated. Nothing being popped up in there. We've got one here. Oh, here's another one. So at least 2. I'm going to give everybody some water in here. They're dying of thirst. There's 3. Here's one here, but something happened. Alright. Sometimes when I'm pulling out weeds, I disturb them. Or maybe it's too dry. See, they're dry. They want water. They're drooping. It's very, very hot in here, people. So that's 1, 2. Nothing coming up on these ones. 3, 4, 5. Desperately needing water. 5, 6. Right, needing water. Inside with the baby cooking food, right? 6, 7, 8 that we can see. 8, 9, 10 at least. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Nothing coming up in there. 15, 16. Nothing. Nothing growing here. I'll take out some of these. Sometimes they grow fast, right? Let's see. I don't remember what I was counting there. 16. This one died. Do you see? If you disrupt it from its shell, it doesn't like it and they die. Obviously, I was weeding out this crap. I pulled too hard, pulled it out, and that's what happened. So I'm a little leery about transplanting. Right? This is another English of some kind. Doesn't look like too many black walnuts because they were so small, right? So this one, it's hard to say. But here's 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's this 1 and 2 in there, right? So anyway, I'm gonna give these guys some water, and then this is them now. From what? This is 2nd year growth. They're pretty nice. Look at that. It would be amazing if I ever got a nut out of any of them. There's another one. So 3 nice black walnuts. These are black walnuts. These 3. Right? And then we've got another one here. You see, I must have put a nut in there to hide it to see if I could look at that. Do you see? Do you see what happens? That squirrel, it just digs them up, right? I was trying to just get him in the ground, hoping that the squirrel wouldn't find him, and it did anyway. So, destroyed those. 1, 2, 3. Right, so anyway, we've got, if you notice here, we've got 3 trees growing in one pot. I didn't transplant them. I just left them because I'm afraid to disturb them, because I don't want them to die, even though I have no homes for them. Like, how does that make any sense, people? That's like having children in a country that you have nowhere to take them. You're like nomad, right? Like a gypsy or something, you know, live nowhere, right? So anyway, there's 3 there. You can see something there digging. See, those are black walnut. And then, so I might leave some of those just like this one, right? And then this one is a nice, fairly healthy one. This one is the biggest and the most healthy of them all. This one here is just thriving. Like, it's just thriving, like it's huge. It's like, it's all ready to touch the pine tree. Next year, it will be touching the pine tree, if not by the end of summer. That one is a real robust one. And then, we've got more here. See, these ones are okay. This one's okay. These ones are in their own pots. They survived. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a Norway maple, which is good for mulch. Right, and maple syrup. Norway maple just sits in the corner. He's okay there. This is an English walnut. You can tell by the leaves. Right? Very fine. And then, over here, this is another English walnut, because you can tell by the row of the leaves, right? Another one. Here's a nice, beautiful one here. This one really likes it here. It's very healthy. It's growing. And then there's my friendly squirrel. Whatever I thought I could sneak in there didn't work. It dug it out, because this is all it's going to get to eat this year in this neighborhood, because everything else has been tore down, people. So white oak. This is a nice little white oak bush. Right? It's actually quite nice. If you notice how it's coming out. All like that. And then I have a couple of little hollies here, because, you know, people do like holly trees, right? And then here's another white oak that's fairly big, actually, if you look at it. It's getting tall now. And that's in a pot all by itself. I should just put a stick in it and straighten it. So there's that nice, and the stalks are getting bigger and thicker. These ones I dug into the ground somewhat. Ooh. Right. You can see. But what I noticed, especially on the, what is it called? On the, porch. My trees are dying, because something's happened to them. Where am I? Can't see. Look at this. The stalk is green. Where's my finger, people? There it is. The stalk is green, but I don't know. Look, that's just busting off. What is that? Oh, where am I? Look at that. What does that mean? It wants to grow, but it can't, because something's happened to it. And I have more than one tree like that. This is a different oak tree. Hold on. This is a different oak tree. Right? This is an English walnut. You can tell by how the leaves are getting big. Alright. This is in English. Oh no, sorry, this one's a black. This one's in English. Much bigger leaf, much smaller leaf. But sometimes I can't even tell myself. I think this one is in English, and this one is a black. Do you see the difference between the two leaves? Right, this one's thinner, it's more pointier, or this one's broader and much wider. Right, so that one's living. Looks like something was in there. I think the squirrel is coming in here. Do you see this? It's digging, it's chewing. Now that really pisses me off, people. That's how hungry they are. It's in there chewing the wood to get to the nut. Because this tree right here is still feeding on the nut. Because clearly you can see something was in there digging. So, you need to plant with rocks to keep the fucking rodents out. Right? And even then, something gets into the wood and maybe eating from the inside, or it's down there in the ground. Because I've pulled out some where they have completely died, and there's nothing there. It just comes straight out. And then I planted some, I don't know, cucumber, squash or something. Something's growing here, you can see. Right, so I'm going to try and run them up the fence as they get bigger. Right. Didn't do anything in there because technically I should be in here, although it looks like I have potatoes growing, so that's kind of nice. Technically I should be in here, people, organizing and cleaning, and you know, there's all that black walnut wood, right? Fixing up what needs to be fixed up in here, but I don't have time for this. Right. Not right now, maybe in the fall. So anyway, it looks like I have potatoes growing here, so that's good. I got a few of them actually. Here's potatoes. There's potatoes. These are all potatoes. That's potatoes, potatoes. There's a potato over there. So that's kind of cool. Because I didn't plant nothing in here. I never had no time. So I'll fix it up just a little bit and maybe throw some beans in there with those potatoes sometime this week, since I have time. Alright. And then of course I have to plant nuts, and I still have to plant food, right? And then we've got this one here. Again, being that they're digging and they're wanting to get into the nut itself, even though it's been in the ground for 2 years, you know, the squirrels and the raccoons, that's probably a squirrel, because, you know, that little gray squirrel loves my yard. Anyway, put your rocks. And then, I don't know, I think those are tomatoes, obviously needing water. It's been rainy, cold, and damp and cloudy, so nothing's really been growing that much. I'm not sure. It's cucumbers, squash, I don't know what it is. We'll find out when it grows. Same thing here. You can see. And then here, these are nuts again, but they got in late. So nothing growing yet outside of little pine trees. Do you see? I have little pine trees growing in here. There's 2 there. So at some point I'm going to be digging them out. There's another 1, 3, 4, right? 4 pine trees that I can count of, right? No trees coming up yet though, and the squirrels haven't gotten into those yet, but these might not come in until the end of late summer. Same thing with these ones down here, because I planted these late, and that's assuming that the squirrel or the raccoons don't find their way into it. These are some tomatoes. These are beefsteak tomatoes, which I really like, that need to go into the ground, so I'm going to try and do that today. I don't care where I put them. I'm putting them somewhere. And then those little ones I've already planted. right? I haven't had time to mow the grass. Tisha mowed the front. Beans, that the slugs have been eating the leaves, but besides that point. And then a few little cucumber plants that may or may not do well. Hard to say. Some little tomato over there. This is a beet patch. This is an Asian vegetable. It's really, really good. And as a matter of fact, I am going to bring those in and just saute them, or not saute them, just like cook them a little bit, right? And freeze them if I don't eat them right away, because it's really tasty, like really tasty. But as you can see, I have to get up in here and weed. But the beets are nice. They're doing good in here. This is the same plant as this one. So I'm going to let this one seed because I like this plant. Rhubarb. And then we got a couple of more little holly trees. Right? See, didn't make it, whatever it was. This is a English walnut, no, black walnut. This is a black walnut. Do you see how it's digging in here? Do you see this? Digging. So I'm going to now have to go around the yard and pick up freaking rocks and start packing these things down just in order to protect the trees. Right? So this one's another black walnut, but these are like 2 years old, right? And then there's another black walnut. Right? Gotta pay attention. Yeah, see? It's been pulled out. Look. It's been pulled out. So it's wanting it. There's whatever it is going from pot to pot. Right. Another black walnut. That's a different oak. That's a white oak. That's a different oak that I got from downtown. And then another white oak. And another little white oak. Yeah. So anyway, it's really hot out here, people. Hold on a minute. See, I want to clear out all this. This is wood from when they tore down those trees. I'm chopping them up and I'm making items for crafts and beads and that type of thing with it. So one day I got to get out here with the saw and just zoo, 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 zoo for like 5 hours straight. Hold on a minute. Okay, so basically I'm out in the front now. You can see how the morning glory just starts to take over everything, right? And like I say, I used to spend hours and 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 hours doing this shit, but whatever. Not today. Right. So, this is comfrey. I am going to get some pots ready and plant some more because they're over there getting dehydrated and they don't like to be out of the ground for too long. This is that tree that got cut down a couple times because it was up by the raspberry bush. But I decided to stick it in the ground anyway. But because it was already established in terms of its root, like it had already been like a 3-year-old tree, it was over 3 years old. And I didn't know for the first couple of years what it was. So I just chop it off trying to dig it out and I couldn't get it out. And then by the 3rd year or whatever it was, I decided to dig it out, and that's when I found the little nut and realized that it was it was a little nut like that, just a very small one. It was a black walnut tree. So I thought, to heck with it, I'll put it in the ground and see if it survives. And it actually did. And I like this one because it shoots off into 2. If you notice that, it shoots off into 2 from one root. So far it seems to be doing okay. And this is my mint patch. And then there's another Norway maple. I'm getting in there today in the hot, blaring sun. And I'm going to be planting more comfrey into pots. This is what my little friend did. I'm very angry. But I should have known better. See, dug up the nuts that I just put in there like 3-4 weeks ago. Dug them out. Dug them out. Dug them out. Dug it out. See, there's a hole there too. Dug that one out. I tried to be sneaky and tried to hide them, right? But, whatever. So those ones are all no good. Look what happened here. All dug out. All dug out. All dug out. That one over there is dug out. There's one over there that's dug out. So this one here is dug out. Can you see? Dug out. It's all dug out. They ain't even trying to come in here looking for shit. Right? So anyway, it's losing. These animals are losing their look, all dug out. You can tell it's been dug out. Dug out. They're losing their food source, people. They're not planting the trees that they're cutting down. And like I said, they're killing off the bees and they're killing off the animals as the people are dropping around them like flies. So, anyway, that's all been ripped apart by either a human or a squirrel or a raccoon. And then, of course, this here is a Japanese herb. It starts with an S. I can't remember what it's called. But they use it with Japanese cooking. And then I've got those there. Don't ask me what they are. Cucumbers or whatever. Just basically herbs and whatever. And then, again, we'll see what we get. The pond, I think I've discovered what is wrong with the pond. I'd like to work in the pond today, but I have to work with plants first. So I can't really do much. But I think what the problem is when I turn on the pond, this here, the way I have the filter system with the holes, the water is poking up and I think it's leaking up through the lid down the side. And that's why it was draining. So anyway, gotta do that. I'll tidy up this big mess. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start taking out these rocks, or at least pushing them off to the side. Right? And then this gravel that my daughter brings me, I'm going to be strategically laying it down in here. Because what's underneath here is that black felt. Because at one point this thing was so full of weeds I didn't know what to do to control it. Where these rocks came from is they came from the little house, and I paid people to bring them here because they were just going in the garbage anyway, so that at some point they could be transferred over as decorative for, you know, the bigger pond or wherever, right? So in the meantime, I'm just going to take a shovel and shovel them over into one pile over here, and then since I'm here, I'll take out the blueberry plant and figure out a different spot for it. Clear this all out in here, and then lay down the gravel, and then get dirt from the pond area as I'm digging that hole, right? Put it in there and mix it in with the gravel so I create the same type of basically habitat that clovers like. And then I'm going to put in a big clover patch in here for tea. Already? The raspberries are ready, eh? Coming in now. So this is a nice plant, so before it gets smothered, I have to come in here. I'm in the house, people. Right? I'm in the house, people now. So, you know.
Yeah, there's a raspberry over here.
Anyway, I have to come in here and dig out the weeds.
Yeah, there's a raspberry over
Make
here.
sure that, Andre, in a minute, make sure that, you know, the water can get in to the tree itself. And then, so this is the area I'm going to be pretty much working in today, is in here. And then, oh, I got to sneeze. Here comes it.
Ta-da.
It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. It's not bright enough. I'll pick some of these because I am still collecting leaves for tea, you can see. But at the same time, I'll be digging out. See, there's more Sierra's rocks. This is a nice little patch, but I don't want the roots getting too close and it's spreading, right? So I'll take out some of these roots, right? What I am going to end up doing here, people, is I'm going to be extending this way down and just making it more garden in this part in here, right? I don't think I'm going all the way down. Of course, I should be weeding, but I don't have time just yet. These are nice white flowers that are going to be coming in soon, right? But I've got other flowers that I'm just going to run a patch right in here. I mean, they're not going to be nice now because they've been in shock, but they should root, and then next year you'll have a nice patch going through here. Take out some of this because it's smothering these, and I like these. And I have little tomatoes I want to put over there. So there's the raspberries, right? This did not make it. It was too much for it, but I am going to leave it, and maybe it will go into hibernation and bounce back in the spring. Hard to say. Look, is that a good one or an empty one? That's an empty one. Oh, there's another one. Oh, maybe I found those. So we're going to start collecting snail shells. Right?
Yep.
And then I did that, but I need to do a bit more because I want to make, see, this is where it gets hard for me because I'm not a man. And it's a lot of, you have to build, right? But I want to build an arch. So this stuff pretty much stays up there and the sun can still go in there, because if you see what I've done this year, instead of tomatoes, I planted something. Right? So as it grows, I'm going to try and train it to go along the fence, go up the posts, whatever, right? That's as the grapes are growing, because the grapes grow now, right? Produces a lot of grapes. I let the leeks.
Yeah, guess what I got? This one just fell off. That's nice.
I let the leeks repopulate. Don't step here. Look, no, don't. Get out of here. This is something that was in a baby jar, baby bottle. Don't step on these. It was in a baby bottle that I had it kicking around my house for quite a few years. They were seeds. They were little black seeds. And I couldn't remember what they were. So anyway, I just came along with that little baby bottle and whatever it was that sat in the jar for 4 years, they're growing. So we'll see. We'll see what comes out of it. This is a radish that the Punjabi people really like. So I'm going to let this grow and repopulate itself year after year. And as I work in here, right, and clear out all this, it will be the same kind of plant. So it can spread and you can eat them. I gave this just over the fence a little bit of water last night, but I haven't been back to check on it, so I don't know what happened with the dill or whatever. I don't know, but I'm going to have to water it later and see what's going on. Yeah. But we're not working in there today. And then there's some potatoes and some potatoes. This is, again, something. Right? And then beans. See, this is when I went to the field. I want these flowers, right? Whatever they are, whatever's in there, I have to get them in the ground. So that's what I'm going to be working on today, people, for the most part. And I want a healthy clover patch. Whether I get it or not remains to be seen. I don't know. And then my son, there's comfrey. You can see it doesn't like being out of the ground. I'm going to put them in pots. I know where there's fresh ones, but I don't get a lot of time out here. So Uncle Mark King, these things are going to need a little more water. He came in here and weeded it, right? You can see it's all nicely weeded. And then he added in a few more. These ones are cucumbers. So those are cucumbers. And there's a potato that survived from last year. And then we've got a few more potatoes. Another potato.
And some more.
There's that Asian spice. I told Mark King to keep it. Right? And then potato. Cucumbers, squash, something. And Andre's cucumbers. Seeds. This is a compost that I'm working on. Right. And there's that vinyl still. Hold on. So yeah, I don't know. This is tomato or something, right? There's that, what I planted next door, I haven't had a chance to put anywhere in my yard. Quite possibly dill. Here's more tomatoes, so I'm going to be sticking those in the ground, hopefully at some point today. Beans. This is a squash of some kind. Couple, probably squashes, still need to get in the ground. Those are beans. Right. And then I put beans here, but because the weather's been so crappy, nothing's really growing. There's squash. You can see got all dug up by whatever has been raiding my planter pots. Like, it's really pissing me off, but I should have known better. Did it here. Do you see? Just coming in here, ripping everything apart. Alright. Looks like they're even digging in here. Look at this. You can see, it's like they're just digging. Digging for the sake of digging. This one not doing so well this year. I don't know why. Last year it was really nice. So, I have to get in here too, which I'm going to do today. But it's really hot now, so, and I'm tired. I'm very tired and worn out. But besides that point, I'm just going to yank these things out, and I'm going to put tomatoes there. Yeah. So, the blueberries, these 3 blueberries, even that one's not too bad. That one in the next couple of years will be really, really nice. Providing that you keep these raspberries from encroaching on it, so I really have to get up in here. And this is my main goal for today,
You know
to
where
get those clovers in the ground. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, people, and I'm just so not up to getting out into this yard. Physically I'm not as strong as I used to be, and I still keep a pretty steady pace on things, right? And just with all this emotional stuff that goes on, right? I mean, you can hear it in my videos. You can see what's going on. You've been seeing what's going on. And it's really hard on me. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to be out in the front today because it's under the sun, and it's probably better if I try and do that first thing in the morning or later on in the evening. It's still too hot out there. It's been cold, hot. And today it's been really quite hot. So I watered everything out there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up by the because I can work out there till dark, right? Once I get out there and start digging in the dirt. I'm getting kind of tired of this dirt, but besides that point, at least I got dirt to bitch about. Up by the hen house, seedling room, aka the craft room, and where I found those potatoes growing today. That's where I'm going to put my energy, is in that little square. And I'm going to dig up the morning glory and a few little weeds that are there, and just gather the potatoes a little more. I got a couple more potatoes in the yard, so maybe I'll just throw a few more in that one corner. Ones that are under pots, right, that just never got into the ground, because I've been looking after Amari people, right? I'm just doing whatever else I do in a day. And put in some beans there, just whatever is in those little planter pots. Just going to throw them in the ground for now, right? And look in that hen house area and see what I can do in terms of, because it's not raining now, so I can bring the wood out and I saw it, right? Bring them into smaller pieces and then get bins and put them into bins and then cover them up and then stack the bins and label them in terms of English walnut, black walnut, and then over the course of however long I live here, right? Work on Andre's walnut art, right? That was the purpose. And to have another seedling room. And try and get a few more walnuts. I still have some in the bag, although I don't know how well they're going to grow. But anything that I put in the ground, I mean, obviously they had nuts, they had walnuts in them because something's been digging them out. So they're viable, they're just not getting a chance to catch. So anytime I plant a walnut now, it has to be either in the X Club or it has to be in the greenhouse. Because otherwise it's just going to, and even then, you have to take rocks after they grow and cover up your pots and try and get those rocks in there because they're going to get in there and try and get down into the nut and eat the nut that the actual tree is living off of. Like, who would think of these things, right? I never thought of these things. But that's what's happening here, and that's what I have to do in order to have trees grow that I really have no place to transplant them. Okay, so I am using the camera with the funky... It's actually quite nice looking grass, really, when you think about it. It's got a pretty color to it, but anyway. This is where I am right now. Here it is right here. It's almost like wheat. Almost. Maybe I'll dig that out and put it in a planter pot because it's just kind of sticking there by itself. I kind of like that. Put that up. Here's another one. Put that up by the pond. These are different. These are different. Do you see the color on them? They're different. These got a gray compared to just this one. I don't like this one. But these I could have by the pond. So this is where I'm at. Anyway, I'm going to take this out. Right? Maybe I'll continue scraping this off. Right? So that I can paint it this year and make it nice. Right? Because, you know, I know in the great grand scheme of things, people, none of this means anything. Right? When it's slated to be bulldozed down and forgotten about, it means nothing. But in the meantime, you know, considering the economy and everything, who wouldn't be happy to have organic potatoes? And I'll put a little bean back. I'll put those beans over here and a couple of tomato plants around and maybe a couple of little cucumbers, something different. But I'll leave these potatoes growing where they are in the ground just to see what we get. And then I'm going to get up in here. Jerry reinforced everything, so everything is nice and solid. This fence is not falling down, that I know. You can see what he's done. He's braced them up, checked everything, but then he just kind of bailed ship on me, right? He said he's going to come back and do something, but he can't really do anything, I suppose, until I clear out some of this stuff. And so anyway, I got a shelf now, so I'm going to put a shelf in here, and all those little things, I'm going to cut them up into small pieces, then I'm going to put them into bins, label the bins. I wanted a roof here, right, to protect, but whatever. So for today, this is what I'm doing. This in here. This is now. Let's see what happens by the end of the night. See how much I get done. Hold on. You remember these days, people? It's like the good old days. Right? See, the one thing about it being the advantage to it being so cold and everything getting, well, not everything, but, you know, things still not in the ground yet. There's a good probability that, what do you call it? It will be a warm September. So you'll be able to play catch up with whatever's in the ground, right? Depends on how gray the skies get when the fires in the mountains really begin to burn. Right? See, I picked this corner, people, because of the shade. Right. I think I'm going to try and put some of these in a planter pot so that as I work on the pond, I can, you know, put them around the pond because I kind of like them. And they come out pretty easy. I like the color. And they don't seem to be that horrific. Not like this other grass. These ones are a little more just kind of to themselves. So anyway, just want to show you. Right? And then what happens is I breathe in all this dust. Dirt, pollen, molds, lots of molds. Speaking of smells, the raccoons have been using their latrine. I can tell. It's been there ever since I moved in. So that means I gotta go clean it up sometime this week. Get up into that area. Alright. But the raccoons were here first before me. This was always their yard. And no matter how hard I tried to build to keep them from doing what raccoons do, they still find refuge in this yard. Right? They love the wood pile. Make sure you take out the morning glory. I can compost the grass, but not the morning glory. Morning glory never dies. Right? And, oh, wait till I take you out to the back over there. Oh my God. It's crazy. The only one good thing I like about it right now, believe it or not, for as much as I bitched about these blackberries all these years, is I've got a really, really good blackberry bush that's extremely healthy. But right along came the morning glory. So, but that's okay, because the blackberry bushes are being wiped out too, right? Because the people who run this province and the communities, the MS-13s out here, right? And I don't mean it like in a Mexican sense, I just mean it in a gang sense. You know, they want you shopping at the grocery store. They don't want you getting free food from trees and berry bushes and gardens, because if you look at the video I did yesterday at all those houses, you tell me where those people are growing gardens outside of maybe in those big mansions that are selling for $5 million and up, because some of them go up to $28 million, those mansions, people, because my son is a tree cutter and he knows that. Those $5 million ones were just on the low ball scale. So I just wanted to show you it's like the good old days, so I'm just going to focus for a little while. Hold on. Guess what I'm doing now? I'm doing an Uncle John. This is what Uncle John used to do. Hey, hurry up. I'm not Uncle John. Uncle John used to hold the little ones when they were little. He loved it. He couldn't wait to hold them. He'd slobber. Oh, I'm sweating, people. I'm starting to get hot. Like the good old days. I just want to get this little patch done for the most part. It's half done. And I'm just going to put a bunch of plants in there and try and figure out an attack in there so I can get on with it. Because I wanted this all painted this year, people, right? I want it painted, so Tisha's giving Amari a bath. So I don't know how long that's going to take. Oh, Leah May. Your Nana's hot. See how rough I am with my hair, people? It gets all twined it up. And all dusty. Little spiders in them. And things flying around in the air. And by the time I comb it out, you know, big ball of hair. And my hair comes out really easy, right? So that's what that clover is supposed to be good for, is to stimulate hair growth. So I'm going to try it. Right. What are you doing, Lammy? Ever since she had her shots, she's been so kind of like blasé. Today she had a bit of spark in her eyes. Just a little bit. Where are we? Are we in a spot in life that we've never been in before? Is this a different spot in life? Oh, Jesus. See? Bugs crawling around my eyes. What was that? This is where I start to really smell like dust. But that's okay. I'll have something growing here by the end of the summer and I'll thank myself. I'll put a few planter pots in here with some walnuts that are already established. But this squirrel is oh yeah, driving me nuts. Look what I found. It's digging it up and putting them in other places. Do you see this? The screen. There we go. Can't really see. There we go. I can see. Do you see the nut? Nice and juicy in there, people. This thing wants to root. So I am going to take some of this beautiful dirt that it likes, put it in the dirt, and I'm locking it up in the X Club. Right? This is probably one of the nuts that this squirrel dug out and put over here. This is a fairly large English walnut. So I know that will grow. If it doesn't get disturbed, it will probably grow because it already wants to grow. So I found that in there. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Because that little squirrel or raccoon or whatever is going, I think it's a combination of squirrel, raccoon, and human. Right? Digging. So, I don't know why your mother has you dressed in this. The house gets cooler, right? It's hot outside of me. Nana wants to take off her shirt too. I can't. Anyway, cool off. There. Anyway. See, this is why I picked this corner. This is more shady. Alright. I should scrape off that paint before I plant anything in there. I'm thinking to bring some comfrey in here. Only I'm not sure where I want to put it. Right. It spreads, but it's not like it's going to go too far in here. Just need to get it into the ground. Oops. So maybe right here I'll have to move the rocks and cut a hole in the felt, and then I'll plant it in there, and then it will branch out. It will take a long time before it gets anywhere. Pretty much stay in that one contained area. It will be half dead this year, and it might even die off, and I might have to go get another patch and put it into the ground immediately. But before I do that, I'm going to try and salvage what I already dug out and carried over here. What was that, 2 days ago, and they're already dying. Right, because they don't like to be out of the ground. And they're very fragile. But you can make tea with them. Just don't use it too much. And you can use it as a salve, I'm not sure how they pronounce it. Save. And I plan on doing that with my feet. I just never really have time to pamper myself, but under my feet, I'm going to moisten some of it up that I've got dried, put it on a paper towel or a cotton cloth. Probably a cotton cloth would be better. And then put it on underneath my feet, just right like that. And then put my foot in a plastic bag. Lay there and watch TV. Fall asleep. And then the properties in the comfrey, they're healing properties. I don't have open wounds on my feet, but my feet get pretty sore. And it looks like I'm starting to get a little bit of varicose veins. So before the varicose veins gets too bad, and you know, I'm going to try that. So I think I'm going to put some comfrey right here. Just a nice little patch. That'll work. And then maybe one in a corner over here. Right? Versus putting them in planter pots. Because I've got one in a planter pot, which technically should be repotted, divided. Add new nutrients into the pot. It's been sitting here for like, oh my, 5, 6, 7 years. Every year it grows though. Doesn't matter. It still grows. So, I'm just getting so much done. Right? I have to go out on Friday. We're taking Amari to the doctor. So I'll probably get nothing done on Friday. And then because I went out and I'm basically on foot, by the time I get back, I'll be real tired. And I don't know how much energy I'm going to have for Saturday to come out in the yard. And the same applies for Sunday, because when I'm tired and I'm working hard like this, sometimes it takes 2 days to recuperate. In the old days, I could do 4 to 5 days a week. These days, I'm lucky to get 1 day a weekend right now with childcare, right? And the cooking and, you know, the feeding and just, you know, whatever. Now I got something in my throat. Hair, that's what it is. Well, are we keeping each other company? Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are. We're keeping each other company. Oh, yeah, look at this. This is pretty nice. Hold on. I like the color and I like the pods on it. And it holds its shape pretty good. I'll put that in a pot. And then I've got some more here. But of course it will repopulate because those are some pretty big seeds. But they're very shallow roots. And they pull out easy. Right? Not like those other ones that really intertwine and get deep and they're really tough like leather. So anyway, you can see what I'm doing. So now I put her on the grass so I can have a smoke and just sit down and relax for a minute. And look at me, she's so pretty. Such a pretty little baby. Look at me. Through the eyes of a child. Yeah, what do you got? What is that? She's focusing. She's got 2 little blades of grass. Yeah? Yeah. She's not her happy little self, though. It's been almost 2 weeks since she's had her shots. So, they're giving kids too much at one time. Look at that. She's picking it up. Very good, Olea May. You're going to be good with fine detail, eh? Huh? Okay, so this is where the camera gets dusty. Anyway, I don't know. This is what I pulled out from the field. Pulled it out from the field. There's some comfrey, don't know if it's going to take. And a little something from the field. And then basically, I don't know, people, I just took the potatoes that I have, right? These are potatoes I've grown. Obviously, I missed a whole bunch. I mean, they could be seeds for all I know. I don't know, but that's a lot of potatoes that are growing. you can see which ones are growing. So I just threw some more in there. And then I just put a couple of tomato plants in there, just 6. Those are beefsteaks, so they get actually quite large. But I'll try and prune them. Oops, 7. There's one right here. I'll try and prune them as they grow, right? And I'm not too worried about it right now. So anyway, I need a path to be able to get in here, right? I haven't gotten in here yet. So as long as I can do this for now, for the most part, I'm good. Okay, people. I just got a different camera. The zoom on this is supposed to be much better than what I have. This thing's got lines through it. So just hold on a minute. I just want to see. See? "73 times. The other ones that I have are like 16. So anyway, let's see. I have been like distracted for the last hour. So I'm going back in here now. You can see what I've done. Not very much. But I'm trying out this camera, so hold on. Anyway, I just want to see how well this zooms in. That's as far as it goes. I see a bird. Where did the bird go? Oh, there's a bird. Where did the bird go? Birds flying around up there. Quite far away. Birds. See, they like the tall trees, people. But they're getting all cut down. Oh, that's a weird looking tree. Look at that. Oh, there's some birds. Where are they? Anyway, let's go zoom in on this thing. Where is it? There it is. That's a weird looking tree. What happened to it? Hmm.